What are the biological differences between the human male and the human female? During the course of evolution, men became specialized for hunting and women for food gathering and child rearing. And the legacy of this difference is still with us today. Men are physically stronger. Women have more stamina. Men are better at visual spatial problems. Women are better at verbal problems. It soon becomes clear that although men and women differ from one another, one sex is certainly not superior to the other. The human sexes are different but equal. Equal but different. All human life on this planet has one thing in common. Our teeming populations are split in two, one half male, the other half female. Just how similar and just how different are the human sexes? It's not easy for a man to get inside the head of a woman. So, during my television journey through the realms of human sex and gender, I must constantly be on my guard. I must try as hard as I can to be objective, balanced, and fair to both sexes. Above all, I must avoid any kind of emotional bias. I must present sexual relations as they really are, not as one extreme pressure group or another might wish them to be. Only if I do this can I provide a true scientific picture of what it is to be masculine or feminine.
Come on, let me catch up.
How many of the differences between the human male and the human female that we observe every day are rooted in their biology? How many are genetically inherited and how many are imposed by society? This mother is clearly improving on nature. But would her daughter, when she reached adulthood, become just as feminine without all this early training?
Hey, come here. Let me finish up. Come on, let's finish up. Close your eye. Close your eye. Close for just a second. How about for... No, don't rub it. Don't rub it.
Why do we encourage boys to express themselves through muscular power? Is this based on their biology or merely social tradition?
Just hold still.
Is this girl's mother exaggerating a biological feature or inventing a new one?
Mariah can't do it like this. You're not making this much fun.
Are these boys exaggerating natural male qualities, or are they behaving in a totally unnatural way?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Watching these scenes with small boys made super masculine and small girls made super feminine, one can't help feeling that if only society would leave them alone, perhaps boys and girls would all behave in exactly the same way. Perhaps the differences we observe between the behavior of boys and girls, men and women, are all culturally imposed by older generations, with biology playing hardly any part. I know that in some circles this is the fashionable view, but I'm sure it's mistaken. The performance of this young girl may seem to be completely contrived and artificial, but it's not. It's merely an exaggeration, a dramatization of femininity, albeit at a very tender age. Clearly, society is imposing massive pressures on its members to emphasize their gender differences. So how can we strip off this cultural veneer to reveal the biological structure underneath? To understand how human gender differences first evolved, it helps to look at a group of modern people who are still pursuing the kind of tribal lifestyle that must have been enjoyed by our remote ancestors for tens of thousands of years. These are the Baka people of tropical West Africa, who even today display a primeval division of labour between the sexes. The role of the men is to hunt, to dismember the carcasses of the animals they kill, and to design and construct the hunting weapons. The role of the women is to rear the children, build the simple round huts, and gather vegetable foods. Although the bulk of the food eaten comes from the women's gathering activities, the meat provided by the men is of much higher nutritional value. Allowing for this difference, it's true to say that the contributions of males and females to tribal nutrition is roughly equal. This equality of importance in feeding is reflected in a gender equality in tribal matters generally. Decisions on male activities are made by the men, those on female matters by the women. It's almost certain that throughout our long evolutionary past, the human animal has thrived on this kind of natural balance of power between the sexes, rather than the domination of one sex by the other. To witness the legacy of this primeval division of labour, one only has to visit a modern holiday beach. There, the difference in the physique of human males and human females is clearly exposed to view. The athletic hunting of the primeval males has resulted in a larger, more muscular male body. The female body is specialised for childbearing. This primeval gender difference is even more obvious at sporting events, and nowhere is it more evident than at the traditional Highland Games held annually in Scotland. The most dramatic event is the uniquely Scottish obsession with tossing the caber, a 17-foot-long tree trunk that has to be thrown end over end. Only the most powerful of men can achieve this feat. Conspicuous displays of masculine strength are not confined to muscular Scotsmen. All over the world, muscle-straining males can be found demonstrating their physical powers. Even here on the notoriously relaxed islands of the South Pacific, there are contests of male strength. On this particular island of Huahine, where the humidity is approaching 100%, there is an annual fruit-carrying contest which requires enormous muscular power. In Turkey, the men test their physical strength at the annual oil wrestling tournaments. Here, the contestants douse their bodies liberally with olive oil to make themselves more difficult to grasp. Each culture has its own version of male muscle display. These demonstrations are a constant reminder of the way in which evolution has improved the masculine body for its vital task in hunting prey animals. This specialization has given men bodies that are, on average, 30% stronger than those of women, with nearly twice the weight of muscular tissue. A typical female can only carry half her weight, whereas a typical male can carry twice his weight. Supporting this male muscle power, masculine bones, heart and lungs are bigger than their feminine equivalents. Women's ancient role, on the other hand, in gathering food and bearing children, means that their fatty deposits can be distributed more evenly over the whole body, including the limbs. This gives the female shape smoother, more rounded contours. Because of this gender difference, those parts of the body in which fat is stored by the female have become strong sexual signals. But it's not just the distribution of fat that differs between men and women. It's also the total amount of fat stored. At puberty, females have about twice as much fat as males. In adult men, the typical percentage of fat is 12%, whereas in adult women, it's 25%.